Hey y'all, it's Zeus and this is Let's Play Satisfactory. Welcome back to the Pioneer Orientation and Optimization Program. We've been busy, guys. We've been taking a look at bauxite. We've handled a lot of our aluminum. As you can see here, we've got some bauxite refinement and stuff like that. We've sort of eked our way through some of these milestones. In fact, one of the reasons I'm here right this second is because the next milestone, I'm actually jumping up to 8 for this. I want to get this advanced aluminum production done. Specifically because, well, one, I'm obviously going to need the resource well pressurizer eventually. Not immediately, but I really want to start making some empty fluid tanks, and I'll show you why. It's for our upcoming factory, the fuel power plant. So we want to complete this milestone. Let's go ahead and select it, because I think I pretty much have it ready. I think it's this one. Yeah. I have been busy, guys. I've been getting a lot of stuff together. I've had a decent amount of time. I'm going to tell y'all all about it, but let's knock this out first.
Milestone reached. The resource well pressurizer and extractor can harvest nitrogen, crude oil, and water from underground wells. Nitrogen, being a gas, does not need pumps for pipeline transportation. FICSIT does not process most of your metrics, but I do. According to FICSIT predictions, you are exploiting this planet with unexpected efficiency.
Hey.
They did always struggle to see the true potential of things. Nothing about you is unexpected to me, and therefore you are performing exactly as expected.
Ada, you're gonna make me blush. Thank you so much. Yeah, we've unlocked a resource well pressurizer. Basically unlocking these two, water and oil, we've already got, but these are new ways to harvest oil and water through these resource wells that you can find in the land. And then we have a new resource, nitrogen gas, which is our first gas resource. So that's interesting. But our upcoming fuel plant is going to require us to use some empty fluid tanks. So I wanted to go ahead and get those produced. Those actually are pretty easy to make. I believe I can make them here. I mean, I don't have the parts, but I want to show you. It's just aluminum ingots. So we have those obviously being produced over there in the islands. Oh, and I'm a little sick, guys. I just want to give you a heads up. It's been a bit of time since we messed with a bauxite, and I've been tweaking a lot of things here and there. In fact, one of the reasons I'm over here is to illustrate why it's important to double check your factories and stuff like that. I've been trying to straighten up my starter factory. And as you can see, I put holes trying to measure all my stuff. And one of the things I discovered was that all of these belts here were supposed to be Mark 1 belts, or Mark 2 belts, but they weren't. They were Mark 1 belts. So they were slowing down everything right from the get-go. And as you can tell, there's still some inefficiencies here, as this all should just be flowing continuously. So I've been sort of like, when I have time, I've just been running around and checking belts and stuff like that. This is one downside of not just using the maximum belt for everything, is you end up with this accidentally putting the wrong belt or belt lift in a place. Not fun, not fun. But I've been going around. I think I've got this machine to 100% efficiency. So that's exciting. I've basically been running around trying to find machines that aren't efficient yet, and the rotors actually at the moment are not super efficient. There's a couple other things I want to do while we're here, but I want to. The main reason I'm back is I want to take you to the fuel power plant. So let's go back up here. I did my milestone. There's a couple MAM things I want to take a look at and show you something that I've unlocked. I think I did this without you, but I'll double check. I did this turbo fuel recipe specifically because we are using turbo fuel. In the power progression of the game, you move from coal to fuel production for power. and then from fuel to turbo fuel. Now, turbo fuel only requires 2 resources, especially with if you use a specific alternate recipe, it'll only require sulfur and oil. So we're going to use that recipe. It's called turbo blend fuel, and I managed to find it. And we're going to make a turbo fuel power plant. But even more exciting than that, I wish I could. I think I can show you. Let's just go turbo fuel. So this turbo blend fuel, obviously, it's just fuel, heavy oil residue, sulfur, and then petroleum coke. All these 3 are oil products, and this is a sulfur. But even cooler than that is that we can. One of the new recipes in 1.0 is this rocket fuel. Rocket fuel is way more power efficient for the power generators, and the only additional resource it takes is nitric acid, which we have available in our tiers. So the next tier, if I unlock this nitric acid, we'll be ready to produce rocket fuel. And there's going to be a couple extra steps, but that's going to be all the power we're going to need for a while. And in this game, power is king. So I'm very, very excited to take a look at that. I have been out, doing all sorts of hard drive stuff, by the way. I think I can show y'all. I mean, I have found a ton of stuff. Speaking of which, out here, this is the first time I built this thing. Look at this. Sorry, I'm sick. Alien power augmenter. I finally got enough summer sloops to do this. This thing is amazing. So, if you look at the power grid, so this machine, to start off, this machine adds a static power of 500 megawatts, right? And then on top of this 500, it adds 500 to your base capacity, and then it multiplies that by 10% and adds that to the grid. So this machine, it's by itself adds 1230, and this gets bigger the bigger your grid is. So we're having some good times here with power, and we're gonna have even better times as soon as we get our power plant up and running. But yeah, I wanted to show y'all this is a cool little thing you can do here. It doesn't kill you. It just makes it, you just kind of like go a little limp. Alright, let's get back here to the MAM so I can knock this out, because I want to take you to our power plant area and show y'all sort of how I go about planning the layout of the factory. So let's click through some of these. I can't do that one yet. This is another reason I wanted to get those empty canisters out of the way. I'm going to need these for this research. But I do have this. I was turbo fuel is I did this over there at the oil place. All I had to do was bring in some sulfur. I just grab a bit of the fuel out of there, throw in some sulfur and some coal, because I was always bringing coal over for the aluminum production. And so I just add a little bit of sulfur, make some compacted coal, and made myself a little bit of turbo fuel so I can have some packaged turbo fuel for this one and this one. So let's unlock turbo rifle. Oh, ammo.
Turbo rifle ammo unlocked. The pioneer ammo of choice when obstacles are numerous and time is short. Panic and imminent death often negatively affect human accuracy, so this ammo meets the human experience with FICSIT efficiency.
Hey, I believe that just makes it like rapid fire ammo. Next, we're still stuck here. That's for tier 9. This will be for tier 9. Or maybe no, actually I can do this. This will be done in tier 8. Tier 8. This I'll get that polyester soon. This though is tier 9. But of these two, I will recommend every time the depot expansions, and I think we have enough to do those. So let's listen to the dialogue for these.
Dimensional expansion increased to 400%. Parts can now be stored as elementary particles in a hyperdense deconfined state. Normally, I'd explain the basic science, but I don't think this one can be simplified enough for you to understand.
We composed a growth song, but you composed a shrink song, so we remain silent. The dance of your bones and organs and veins amuses us.
I understand. Seeing the pioneer perform tasks also amuses me.
Just for you, Ada. Just for you. We made enough, and we have it. Like I said, I was exploring a ton. I have some extra Mercer spheres. We're going to take this all the way to the final stack size, since this is obviously the most important. So let's go ahead and do this one.
Dimensional expansion finalized to 500%. Despite further efforts, parts could not be broken down further than their elementary particles, nor could the storage become more dense without the particles spontaneously reacting with one another and losing their deconfined state. Yet somehow more matter can now be stored in the same dimension.
We sang our growth song because we like your shallow efforts. Up and down our shallow illusion, up and down disappear in the deep.
That is very thoughtful, I think. I appreciate the attempts at sharing scientific knowledge, however perhaps we should wait until we have a more optimal way of exchanging data.
Love that. So do y'all think that's Ada, and it's just Ada talking to herself? Because I was thinking that it's Ada talking to a different entity. But it's hard to tell. Let's go ahead and get on the road. I'm going to start heading over to our power plant. And we're going to take the rail. In fact, I've been spending a lot of time on the rail. And while I'm making my way over to the factory, I can explain sort of what I've been doing. I got some, as you can see, I'm bringing some extra supplies. We obviously are going to be doing a ton of building. And I've been working with the blueprint machine and struggling a bit. This is my current blueprint. It's just one 4 meter wide segment at a time. And I've done the incline and the 90-degree turn. But as you can see, I really don't like this 90. I was struggling to get curves. I still haven't taken a lot of time to learn the curvature mechanics in the building system, and so it's not perfect, but that's always something I can kind of get back to if I feel like I want to spend some extra time on it. Yeah, but I've been spending a lot of time getting this train track gone. It goes from our base all the way up here and then up here to our plant. And it's looking good. I still got to get the support pillars underneath, but I like the design. I wanted to have a design where on the bottom, the outer edge sort of declines towards the center, but you can't get that to match up with the inclines. I tell you, I was struggling a bit with the blueprint maker. And I settled on, honestly, I like this, actually. I do not hate this design for the straightaways. And I don't hate the inclines, but the 90-degree turn, like this right here, is just not my favorite. I couldn't figure out how to get the diagonal pieces in. So, I don't know. Not my best work, but I kind of didn't want to spend any more time on it, and I figured I'd do something a little bit more constructive. And as you can see, I've got this. This is going to be the site of the fuel power plant. It will produce rocket fuel, and we will burn that rocket fuel in these power plants. I've done some preliminary scouting out of sort of resource nodes. Specifically, the only resource nodes we care about are is it up? Where Oh, there it is. The only resource nodes that I cared about in this build are, we got some oil, and in fact I can show you on the map, since I've got this pretty well documented. So here we are grabbing 3 nodes there and 4 there. These other oil nodes are going to be used for a factory that will go here for producing oil products. What's this green for? I don't know. So there will be plastic, rubber, computer, stuff like that being made here. So I'm saving these for that. And I don't need to maximize the the fuel production here, because I'm making enough fuel power to then do some of my building, some of my factories, as well as setting up for our nuclear power plant. So I just made it just enough, so I'm not that stressed out about it. That's totally fine to not use that. In fact, I'm trying not to do that. But I wanted to show you and sort of talk to you about my method for figuring out how I want to lay out a factory. Sorry guys, I am sick. I'm gonna try to get this out. So I've done my spreadsheet. In fact, I'll show this. I'm not gonna show the spreadsheet now because I haven't like made it nice looking for y'all yet. It's still kind of messy. So I know what buildings I need, and specifically I understand what the most important thing in this is the fuel generators. And so I've really, when you're trying to figure out how to say this, planning how many machines and how much, what recipes to use is a whole different thing than planning out a layout for your factory. If you look at one of our spreadsheets, you'll see you could just lay out all the machines in a line and manifold a bunch of objects through those lines, and you'll get the outcome that you're desiring. And if you feel overwhelmed by all of this, then you should 100% do that. And it's a very good way to do it. That's efficient, in my opinion. I'm trying to just be a little. I like to try to stretch my creativity a little bit. And so I had I figured out what I wanted to make, and I know how many buildings I need to make it. And now this part of the factory planning has to happen in game, because I can't plan this part out in a spreadsheet. This part is kind of difficult to get through in a spreadsheet. And my thought was, first off, one of the problems with working with a lot of fluids is that you can run into head lift problems, which can impact your flow rates in the pipes. So I thought, I'm going to bring the initial inflow of oil and water, and I only need 3 pipes of water, and then the rest of these are oil. I'm going to bring those straight to the top of the factory right from the start. And then as we produce in the top of the factory, the heavy oil residue is the first thing we make. And so we'll let that flow down so that we don't have to worry about pumping any oil up. So we should not run into any head lift problems in the factory, because all the processing starts at the top and then flows its way down. So by the time we get to the rocket fuel, I believe, let's see, this makes fuel. So all that heavy oil residue comes down here and will go into fuel, diluted fuel blenders with water and heavy oil residue. And then it's going to come down here to the turbo fuel blenders. Same sort of thing. We got heavy oil residue and fuel coming down here. And then it flows down here. Well, this is a packaging in nitric acid, so this is a different thing. I'm not going to explain right this second. And and then it flows down to here, and then we got rocket fuel. And the rocket fuel, excuse me guys, sorry, I believe we have 12 blenders, I'm pretty sure, or 12 blenders making rocket fuel, and each blender at overclocked will deliver 250 rocket fuel. Basically, it's a little over, like very, very little over, like 0.002 over 250. And so what I'm doing is from here, it'll flow down. But what I'm doing is I'm just dividing up these, I'm calling them legs. So we're going to have legs where 3 pipes will come down here and flow this way, and then flow straight down this section right here. I believe it'll flow down this. Is that right? No, it'll flow down right here. Right? And each level is going to have now this is one leg. There's going to be 4 legs on these 4 quadrants. And so the 3 pipes come down, and like I said, there's 12 lines of turbo fuel. So 3 for each leg. And so in 3 directions, we'll pipe out the rocket fuel, and it'll come down each level like this. And each level we're going to put these junctions. The junctions are gonna come off one pipe, and it's going to go into the rocket. It's going to go in and split off into 3 separate fuel generators per line. Now I believe that makes a total of 24 fuel generators per line, for a total of I don't have my spreadsheet up in front of me right now, but it's something like 278 or something like that fuel generators. Now, the reason I want to explain this to you is this is a different type of planning. If you've in fact, I encourage you, go watch other people build factories, and you'll find them, fuel generators, okay, and then it's just like lines of like 20 fuel generators. It's all flat. It's this giant line with just pipes running. It looks super simple. It looks, honestly, the game looks good, so it looks good. And so this is me making an attempt to try just to do something with my own little bit of style, my own little bit of flair. And so I'm trying to come up with a creative way to deliver these lines of resources between the factories. So there will be 4 legs coming down sort of in different on the 4 corners, and then this top section is just going to be a factory in layers. And then in the center we'll have our oil and likely a hyper tube going up the central spine here. And I also have to get a train station in here, and that will likely end up in the center as well. So we have a lot to do, and the main reason I wanted to bring you in here is so I could explain this process and help walk you through sort of what, if you're not wanting to just do your straightforward, like just single lines of machines and manifolds and stuff, come and show you how to come up with different ways. All you're really doing is picking your machines and just dividing them up into subgroups and determining where you want those at. I found that once I divided my machines into subgroups, it helped me come up with an idea in my head of how to lay them out. Once I figured out, right, that I had 12 rocket fuel blenders. Once I realized that, I was like, I could do a thing where maybe there's 3 legs with 4 pipes going down to each leg, so I can give this factory a little bit of dynamic look. And then I was like, let's do 4. We'll do 4 legs, 3 legs a piece, or 3 pipes a piece, And then if it's going to have legs, then the top it'll kind of look like a body. And it'll kind of have this, maybe it'll have this cool insectoid type look to it, you know? So I don't know. It's just something I recommend you try to do. My tip for this episode, if I had any, is to group your machines up in a specific way in your head and attempt to divide them up into specific groups and areas, and then maybe work around where you put those specific sections of the factory. That's what I'm going to be working on for this next cut. In fact, looking at the time, I expect I'm probably not going to be doing much else this episode. We'll see. I almost certainly am not going to be cutting to a finished factory here. I'm probably going to get this area a little bit more finished up. I don't even know how I want this to look. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm working on it. Thanks for watching. All right, folks. Welcome back. I think we're gonna end the episode. I wanted to end it over. I wonder, can I see the fuel power plant from here? It should be somewhere over there. I don't see it. Wait, is that it? It's P, right? It's somewhere over there. There it is. Yeah, you see the platforms over there? That is the fuel factory. I've been working on it like crazy. But I wanted to end this episode off because we're not going to look at too much more of it today. We're going to... in fact, I need to set up some other stuff outside of the fuel factory. But I'll talk about that next episode. This episode I wanted to finish off by completing a milestone. For this next setup, I'm going to start using some Mark V belts. They have 780 resources per minute. So we definitely want to have this done. I believe it's... No, it's not that one. Is it that one? Which bin is it? Yeah, this one? Yeah. So let's go ahead and complete this, and then we'll get moving.
Milestone reached. FICSIT dedicated this milestone to the conveyor belt and lift Mark V. They may be implying that your factory could be further optimized. While they are correct, I believe they are setting unreasonable expectations. Having all of humanity very definitely relying on your work is a lot of pressure. It's a good thing I'm here.
Thank you, Ada, for being here for me. Yeah, I think that's it. I did manage to get some polymer resin, but I'll make some fabric and complete that MAM research later. Yeah, this has been a good episode. We got our power plant started. It's still a bit of a ways away from being completed, but you'll see that in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching my videos. Thank you, subscribe.